Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Cloud Tool Time webinar. Joining us today, we have Lokesh to discuss enhanced developer experience with VS Code Extensions and AI. If you have any questions for Lokesh as we move through today's presentation, please ask them in the chat or use the Ask a Questions tab. Without any further delay, Lokesh, over to you.
Yeah. Thanks, Arina. So, hello everyone, and welcome to our webinar on enhancing developer experience with VS Code Extensions and AI. Yes, AI. So, we are excited to have you all here today.
So I do believe that we lost connection, so we're just going to see if Lokesh is able to rejoin. Hi, Lokesh. You can take off again.
Okay, something happened, right?
Yes, it looks like you lost connection.
Ah,
That's okay.
yeah, it's fine. Let me go a couple slides back there. I'm doing it from start. Yeah. So, hello everyone, and welcome to our webinar on enhancing developer experience with VS Code Extensions and AI. We're very excited to have you all here today. So I'm Lokesh Goyal, a software developer at Couchbase and working in the developer experience team. My major work looks like trying to enhance users of Couchbase, that is developers, to make the experience a bit more easier. So one of the works I have been doing here is creating VS Code extension for the Couchbase, and also I've been working with all the latest Gen AI tools, just like LangChain, so that we can have Couchbase as a vector store to them. Today we will explore how to leverage VS Code extensions and AI to significantly enhance your development workflow. We hope that you find valuable insights to take your development experience to the next level with this session. And today we will discuss about the challenges faced by developers. We will discuss how does a modern IDE looks like. I know you already know about that, but let's have a small look into it. Its its impact on the developer productivity. Um, we will discuss about all the tools available for developers, and especially the AI tools which we have in VS Code, and at last end with Capella IQ. So before we get started, I have a question for you all. How many of you are currently using VS Code as a primary IDE? If you're not using VS Code, you can type in any of whatever you're using as the primary. I'm waiting for about 10 seconds. And the next question I have is, how many of you have used LLM tools like ChatGPT? I hope it's everyone. So one of the questions which come in my mind is, and even I'm asking this myself, like, why do we need a talk on VS Code extensions? When I'm telling everyone about the IDEs, most people here are developers and they know what is an IDE. Even in the college, like my first class was how to get started with the IDE and how do you install it. So what's all this about? So actually, I wanted to discuss here some of the major challenges actually faced by the developers. And so the challenges are not actually related to the development part. And it's kind of a bummer for us that even after so much time in development, we are not able to release developers from all the other non-trivial tasks which take up a lot of time for developers. Some of these are like I've listed here. So like developers are required to be part of so many meetings. In some companies, it can be like 40-50% of your the whole day in just meetings. It can be like filling up all the collaboration tools like Task, like your Jira, or just emailing people. Okay, I have done this, and this is the status, and getting the emails back. A lot of time also takes into testing the product, fixing all the security loopholes. And one of the things people hate is doing the repetitive tasks. Like there are many codes which require you to be part of doing repetitive tasks, and which with just slight changes which makes the experience a little worse for them. And also there's technical debt that you might have done something a wrong way, and now it's taking a lot of time to just fix the things. Because of all these, developers face burnout, as and developers don't like to do copy paste stuff. I can guarantee you, they are mostly doing a copy paste job, but they do not like it. So there was a recent study by Jetbrains on this, like how a developer ecosystem can actually help with all this system, and if they are using some good IDEs. It was found that if they were able to use the IDEs effectively, like utilizing most of the features, their burnouts were very less. Like they were able to feel it. Yes, the boring part of the day could be lowered down to a very good extent, which is actually a pretty big thing to say, because developers are good at one thing, and that's coding, and we should be able to give them that part. So one question I have for everyone here. So when does a developer feel happy? It's actually when the code works. Yes. So whenever the code works, there's a hit of dopamine, and people just love that dopamine whenever the code works, and especially after a long tiring work day. So this my take is that the developer should be working more on the problem solving tasks rather than uh, fixating on all the uh, lower end tasks like meetings and all, and maybe GenAI can help, which we are going to talk about, like maybe some way generative AI can help in easing out those things at least. So I'll start with the next topic, that's the modern IDEs. So in early days, we had very basic text editors. They all run on CLI, and one of the very good ones was V. We still use Vim, a successor to that, and even we have NeoVim. And I guess there are a lot of NeoVim fans now. Do write it up on chat. Then we started to get a bit more better with full-fledged IDEs, but this supported all the features which are there today as well. But the UI was a bit on the older side. They were very good in debugging and executing code, but they still lacked extensibility with the other languages and faced some issues here and there. Then we reached the era of modern IDEs. We have some good examples like Visual Studio and JetBrains IntelliJ. JetBrains have a lot of them, so IntelliJ is one of them. So these were very advanced IDEs. Like they had a lot of features. Every part, like top we have toolbar, on the left we have sidebar, bottom we have some panel, and on the right side also we have another panel for extensions. These were very good at their work. However, they come with a caveat. They are very heavy in terms of resource utilization. Like they take like as far as I know, JetBrains itself takes like 5 gigabytes on just installation, and after you're working on it, the RAM usage is also pretty high. So this brings us to the question that we needed something which was lighter as well, but could do the game. So parallelly, there were many editors which were fixing this. We had text editors like Atom and Sublime Text, which were more focused on making the experience smoother for a basic developer who was not on a very large system. Also, earlier house PC, which was on which most of the developers worked, were not too good to handle very big applications. So these were a real game changer till then. They also added package ecosystems for added functionality. So we have package control, which was utilized, and they there were a lot of packages back then, but now it's getting a bit more older because of the next thing which is coming, and that's VS Code. So VS Code combined the lightweight design of Sublime with powerful extensions. With powerful extensions, so I'll start with talking about how it's very lightweight. Like after just installing it, just 200 MBs, and it's cross-platform. That means you have like you can use it on Mac, you can use it on Windows, you can use it on web as well. Yes, on web as well, which was not possible back in the day with any other IDE out there. It has integrated developer tooling, so you can use full-fledged IDE features here. Yeah, it has strong community, and it has corporate backing by Microsoft, which provided it with good money so that it can really take off. But the main benefit of this is it has unparalleled extensibility. So by unparalleled extensibility, I mean is that it has so many extensions. Like actually, it has 30,000 plus extensions, which help it in making it one of the most versatile IDEs out there. I'll discuss more about the extensions, like what kind of extensions it has, but it makes the experience a lot more smoother for an everyday developer. Then we have cloud-based IDEs. So there was a time when IDEs were supposed to run only on your local system, and you can utilize all the local system files and everything. But then the need for IDEs for extended systems like your VMs on cloud was required. So we got IDE as a service from applications like there were many applications like Eclipse Thea has a VS Code as a service, GitHub Codespaces, Gitpod, and Google IDX. So they use VS Code's something like web version of it, and but the VS Code was actually running on the VM present in the cloud. And also we have some remote development extensions through which you can just SSH into any of your VMs. This made the process a lot more simpler to use, and as you can just instantly set up any of your IDEs. It gives a boost to the ML task because whatever you're working on an ML and just run the code, you are part of the VM, but you are working from your own system, and you will not even feel the lag because it's part of your system. The IDE is actually part of your system, and you can actually access it with from anywhere, including your mobile phone. I don't recommend it because of the size, but yeah, you can do it. And it has seamless integrations and a lot more benefits as compared to just normal cloud. Fun fact: this way is being used by many of the top Fortune 500 companies. For example, Google does it all the time, so that data stays in your sandbox. So, what's the impact of the developer uh, impact on developer productivity uh, of these IDs? The major is only about the time savings and improving the focus. So if you are able to impart 20 to 30% of time savings and give the developer the required focus so that it can so the developer can work for an extended period of time, that is where the major use case of these extensions come in. So these are some of the features which we have of all these extensions. For example, uh, all the as all the tools are present in just one screen, your context switching is reduced, and so that you can work on a single screen, and your focus you're focused more, which helps in huge time savings. We have code completions. You just start typing a variable, it will complete. We have debugging features as well as running features. You can just hover on a variable or a function, and it can tell you what the function is. It can give you the documentation about it. We have a version control like Git. The terminal output and problems are all integrated in the bottom bar. You can collaborate with other developers, right? With everyone, like other peers, using other extensions. This makes the whole experience of using the IDs a lot more smoother, as well as it makes the coding process also really good, in my opinion. So after this, I want to discuss the all the tools for developers. So I have a scenario for you all. Suppose you are building a web app. This app is using Flask as the backend. It has React as the front end. For database, we are using Couchbase Capella. For backend containerization, we are using Docker. For testing, we have multiple libraries based on the language. For deployment, we have AWS, and for CI/CD, we are using GitHub Actions. Of course, you can extend this further for a real world application, but this is what you require usually for a very basic application. So now, doing it with the traditional IDs has one caveat that for backend you will require a different IDE. For frontend, you will require a web-based IDE. For database, you will need to log in to their consoles and get all the data. For Docker, you will need to use Docker Desktop or Docker CLI. For testing, y- each uh, each of the IDs can handle the testing part. For deployment, AWS, you will need to go a lot to the AWS Web Console. For CI/CD GitHub Actions, you will have to go a lot to GitHub. How IDs help? So we have corresponding VS Code extensions which can help you in all these scenarios. So for building the Get web app, of course, you will require Git and Project Manager. For Flask, you have extensions like Python and Pylons. For React, you have extensions like ESLint and Prettier. For Couchbase Capella, we have the Couchbase extension itself. And if you want to view your JSON documents more gracefully, you can also use some uh, other extensions like JSON Viewer to make the experience more smoother. For containerization, we have Docker and Kubernetes. For uh, testing, you can use Jest or Python Text Explorer based on the test case requirements. For the AWS, we also have AWS Toolkit, and for GitHub Actions, we have a corresponding VS Code extension named GitHub Actions, which can all this stuff is there to smooth out the experience of writing the extension for you, writing the whole tech stack for you. So all this stuff you are able to do without even switching your screen to something else. Everything is available to your sidebar. You're now working on Docker. Here are your Docker containers. You are now working on testing. Here are your tests. Here you can run the test, and here are your deployments present. So these are some various types of useful extensions. Of course, I have not listed them all of them here, because even if I would have tried, it would have been impossible. Let's say one of you just created another extension, and I will be like, oh, how when was this created? So we have extensions like extensions for customizing the UI. So you can have icons, themes. We Let's say you want to add a new language. So there was a very interesting use case for us. So Couchbase has a SQL++ language, which is our query language to query the data from Couchbase. So it's based on SQL language only, but there are some important changes required to run it on a NoSQL database. So VS Code does not natively supported it, so we just supported the language just by adding the Couchbase extension to it. You can connect Git and Cloud to it, or anything, external tools like Docker as well. You can run builds, code analysis, or all the automation tasks, right? And all these make the development experience a lot more smoother, and makes the life easy for developers so that they can focus on the logic. So what are all the benefits of the extension ecosystem, especially with respect to VS Code, is that VS Code remains lightweight. It enables developers to tailor their environment, and of course it fosters a lot of innovation so that people, okay, if somebody says that yes, I can improve VS Code, it's through the extensions. And one of the very important thing is all the AI tools which were coming in the VS Code were actually coming through extensions. Even the GitHub Copilot came through extensions, and then uh, slowly and steadily more features were added to VS Code itself. These are the marketplaces to download the VS Code extensions. So it's like a central hub for discovering and installing all the extensions, and you can search all the extensions, get the ratings of it, and get all the details about the extension which you have. So majorly there are two of them. So one is the OpenVSX. It's the open source registry for all the VS Code extensions. It is maintained by the Eclipse Foundation, and it's used by VS Codium and other VS Code like distributions. The other is Microsoft's Visual Studio Marketplace. It's the official hub of extensions by the creator of VS Code, that is Microsoft, and it has over 30,000 plus extensions. So this is the Couchbase extension from VS Code, which you can download from OpenVSX or the marketplace. And this is how it looks like in action. There's a so before starting, I actually wanted to talk to you about Couchbase. So Couchbase is a NoSQL database, and we store data in JSON documents as a key value store. It's a key value store database. So people usually say that, oh, it's a bit harder for us to have a key value store database. So a bit harder to understand the key value store database schema, as there can be multiple patterns to it. In some documents, you have one kind of way of writing the documents, and in other file you have something else, and people are finding it difficult to explore through it. So we allow this one connection to your cluster after once you have connected it. So you can just connect it using the plus button and go through your buckets, your scopes, your collections, and get to know its schema. And even if there are multiple patterns, it will be shown here. So right now, this route collection only has one pattern, so it will be shown. And even if it's nested, which is the beauty of having a NoSQL database, that you can have nested data. You can still see, okay, inside schedule we have flight, which is of type string. So that okay, if you're working on some code, you know that the flight is of type string, and on the right hand side you could be coding about it. Some other features which we have is that you can list all the indexes here, so that you can see, okay, these are the indexes, and maybe you require something more, which can be created using the queries. Now I'll show how you can like query this database. So we have the dedicated workbench right inside it. With the .sqlpp format, you can basically run any .sqlpp file using this. So let me show you a very basic query like select. We also have autocomplete support from let's say route only, and we can limit 10. So first of all, we will need to set the query context, because it's part of the travel simple bucket and an inventory scope. And now to run it, there is a button here, and you can see the data right below. You have JSON. You can also see it in tabular format, and in the tabular format, all the nested documents will also be shown very elegantly, I will say. And you can also see how it was built using the plan feature we have. One more use case which the developers around me and the clients of Couchbase had is they were not like, let's say they have a data at some XYZ location, and they want to bring it to Couchbase, but they don't want to know how Couchbase is working. They don't want to figure out the SDK and write the whole scripts for it. And so we made this process a lot more simpler by having tools. So these tools work simply for data migration purposes. So we have the export tools, data export and detail export, and we have the import tools, the data import, which there is a dedicated CLI for this. Also, we have easy migration from DynamoDB and MongoDB, so that all the data can be easily imported to Couchbase and can be made into uh, and can be utilized faster, so that anybody can test out Couchbase easily. Going ahead, these are some of the other major features, like you can view or update your documents. You can use full text search service right inside the extension, including the vector search part, which is very interesting. You can run the CLI tools for data migration. You can run the query which we did. You can view schema and indexes. And also we have Capella IQ, which we will discuss very soon. So let's start with the elephant in the town, AI. And we will talk about how it all started. But before that, I have a question for you all. How many of you have used GitHub Copilot, cursor.sh, or any other code generation tools? I'm waiting for a few seconds more. Yeah. So this was actually started. All this NLP thing was actually started in 1940s during the World War, when people actually required to translate between different languages. So small algorithms for getting formatted, so that basic word by word at least translation is possible. And over the years, there have been many improvements. We had RNNs, which could be possible by neural networks, which boosted the NLP performance by a lot. We had word to vectorization, which also helped us in understanding the context of words and sentences. But in 2017, there was a major breakthrough, and it was because of few engineers at Google who published a paper on attention is all you need, which created transformers. So transformers were the game changer. We were able to understand longer text with context. They released BERT model, which could do bidirectional training. It could be do pre-training on unlabeled text, and it was able to perform much better as the attention mechanism which was added to the existing neural networks. It made possible to understand longer sentences and even paragraphs. Then carry forward 3 years, then we had some few engineers at OpenAI. They saw the opportunity from transformers, and they created generative pre-trained transformers, which we also know as GPT. So in 2020, we had GPT-3 by OpenAI, which was like a 175 billion parameter model, one of the largest models which we had out there. And for NLP, this was the largest model. And this was the first model which can code and can actually answer human-like, and was able to understand all the context which we were passing it to it. Then in 2022, we went into the next era, I would say, with the onset of ChatGPT. So ChatGPT showed everyone that yes, it's possible that everyone can actually utilize AI, and that was the year actually which makes me slightly more go a bit more goosebumps, to be honest. As Everybody just saw that, oh, AI can do this. We reaching age AI, and many startups forming on this, and currently it is. And in 24 as well, many startups are uh, getting created day by day based on these technologies. And now we have so many LLM models, so many embedding models. There are so many startups. There are so many vector databases. So some of the LLM models which we have now are Gemini, Llama, and Mistral. We also have coding specific models like CodeStrel or CodeGamma. So, and these models are making the lives of everyday people, especially for me. Like I use ChatGPT and all these LLM models a lot, as for my work as well, like for creating stuff on them as well as for others. So these are some of the questions which I have. So these are some of the pain points which users face, like copy paste code, uh, copy pasting the code with minor changes, or you need a particular library which you don't want to understand. Okay, what's happening with this library, or how do I use it? Or there is a small error in my code and I'm not able to figure out. Can someone from XYZ team can help me once? Or I have a code written in C++ and my team is asking that, oh, I need it in Java. Oh, it's such a boring task. Or I need to write a 20 unit test for this file. Oh man, so such a long task. Boom, you can use now AI to do all this stuff for you. Of course, it cannot be 100% accurate, but can save you a lot of time. You can generate similar code using AI. You can ask AI to summarize the library use case. And AI can be the co-helper you need. That's why we have GitHub Copilot, which was the intended use case of it. AI tools can help in translating code from one language to another, and AI can help in writing the unit test cases for you. So key benefits of AI are it can increase the productivity, it can give you code suggestions, complete the code for you, it can write documentation for you, which was a major pain point for all the developers, and it can help in detecting bugs and also fix them. However, with AI comes a lot more challenges and a lot more ethical considerations. So you cannot completely rely on the code quality, and because these LLM models tend to hallucinate. And by hallucination, what I mean is they will try to formulate new stuff out of thin air. And this is where it's on us, the developers, to see whatever they are writing is correct. They can There is a chance that the AI model was trained on some intellectual property, and now it has answered it to you. And if you have written it in the code, it can be an IP concern as well. It also impacts in learning and skill development, as people just uh, keep the AI code and don't even think about it, what they have written, and can impact future when you have to just debug something. And AI has a lot of biases, and so you need to think twice before committing anything from AI, especially when you're writing text and or presentations or some long form content. And the code can have a lot more security vulnerabilities. So do keep a mind on all this stuff before utilizing AI. So these are some AI-powered developer tools. Of course, we have GitHub Copilot, which many people might have already used. So it gives real-time code suggestions. It knows the context of where we are, uh, in which file we are, and can understand, okay, this is where it is getting called. You just write some comment and it will write the code for you. We have a particular chat screen for where you can give more context to it, and it's available from both VS Code and JetBrains. And then we have continue.dev. So it's more about AI tools meet open source. So it can run the local models. It can run from any LLM providers. So making the experience a lot more smoother. And continue.dev is completely open source, so we can tinker it more. And this is the reason that continue.dev was able to have so many integrations with all the LLM models out there and all the embedding models as well. It supports multi-file context understanding and can be customized a lot, and is open for, I guess, contributions from everyone as well. Then after that, we have the AI first IDEs, which were getting formulated. So one such IDE is the cursor.sh. They use the original VS Code base, which is open source, and utilize it to make something even more better dedicatedly for AI. And it supports it supports embedding of all the files so that more friendly context can be sent to LLMs. So before we go further, I wanted to show what Couchbase does in the field of AI with Capella IQ. Uh, I know I was discussing some bits about it from the start. So Capella IQ is our database AI assistant. This is what it looks like. This is what it looks like on the screen when you first start. So it's integrated both into Couchbase Capella and Couchbase ID plugins. It can help you writing complex SQL++ queries. It can help you writing a SDK code. It can help you writing or debugging the already written Couchbase code which you have. It and the major benefit of this is it understands the schema of your database, and it can even call certain IDE actions. It can call data migrator from inside the IDE. So let me show you how it works. So this is the IQ screen. After the first login, it's just one click sign in to make it simpler to use. So let's say I want to have a query like generate a query to list all hotels for each airport. So if you can see in inventory, we have a route and we have a hotel and we have airport as well. So this is a common use case which we have, that there are multiple things present inside a scope, and we want that we want to do a join on it, and it can be a lot more hassle to understand. Okay, we need area aggregations. Okay, we will join on the city. So this AI makes it a lot more easier, and you can just single click to send query to Workbench, have it here, and okay. So if you go to the JSON, you can see, and in the tabular format, you can see that, okay, for this airport, we have these many hotels. For the next Waterloo International, we have these many hotels, and so on. So this way, you can utilize this for harder tasks, and you can even create, right, code on JS. So you can also write SDK code. So I wanted to use a SDK code rather than a query. So it will create the SDK code for me. It will create the code and also tell you what are the steps for it. So it will tell me, okay, you will need to go to this collection. It knows which bucket we are in, which scope we are at, which collection we are at, and write the query for you. So what is next? We discussed a lot. What is next for us to improve? We discussed about Capella. We discussed about all the VS Code extensions. So what's next? So there have been few advancements in generative AI. One of them is retrieval augmented generation. We can utilize the plethora of data we have in the world so that LLM knows the context, get the relevant information it requires, so that it can output even more better code. There are a lot more innovations which are possible, and we will also like to have a Capella IQ 2.0, which is enhanced with retrieval augmented generation. So we are now at the fast-paced growth phase of the Gen AI. It might settle down a bit more later, but at this moment, every company out there is focused on AI, and they are building more and more use cases so that everyday lives can become much more easier, not just for developers but for everyone. I would recommend everyone to just see everyday AI news, how one company is killing other, how a company developed something, and it just makes the whole world a bit more interesting to us. So some new model, some new use case, some architecture is formulated nearly every day now. So at last, thank you. This was Lokesh Goel, and I'll go with by saying keep learning and keep innovating. Thank you. We can have some questions now. So, Serena, are you here?
Thank you. I'm just having a quick look here to see if there's any questions. I do not see any questions in the Ask a Questions tab or in the chat. So without, just wanted to take this time to say what a great, excellent presentation today, Locus. And if there is anybody in the audience that does have any questions, to drop them in there now. If you're interested in presenting, feel free to fill out the form that I will also link in the chat. And an announcement is that TheaCon, the 2-day event, is coming up on November 13 and 14. CFP will be officially open soon. So please be sure to check that out as well. So that is everything. Thank you so much, Lucas, for your time. Oh, let's just have a quick look here. Just Thomas saying thank you for a really interesting presentation from Thomas. And that's it. Thank you. You have a wonderful day.
Thanks, guys.